15 years with this program. Again, a third time in the last 4 years as a #1 seed. What an environment we have for you tonight. Winner moving on to the Sweet 16 in Wichita. Our officials, Natasha Cammey, Robert Schofield, and Mark Resch. Zags in the road red, Louisville in the home white, and we are underway here in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville looking to make it to a 5th straight NCAA Sweet 16 appearance. Van Lith off the screen. Rebound by Enksler. Second chance. How about that by the senior?
The moment the shot goes up on the offensive side of the ball for the Cards, somebody in a red jersey has to box out Enksler. She has got a quick first step to go up and get the board.
And a steal as Melody Kempton fell to the floor, hitting the deck is Hall. And let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Capital One, and we'll start with the Louisville Cardinals. You've got Van Lith and Enksler, both who were named first team all ACC selections. But let's not forget the sharp shooting skills of Kiana Smith. 10 of her 15 points Friday versus Albany coming in the opening quarter.
Kiana Smith knocked down a 3 with like 8 seconds off the clock. She wasted no time getting to work, but this Louisville team has a really balanced offensive scoring attack. Multiple players can score at all 3 levels.
Smith with the basketball, gives it off to Chelsea Hall for 3. There's Enksler, another offensive rebound. Olivia Cochran, turnaround jumper, knocks it down, and Louisville is off to a 4-0 start.
That was pure. She swished that thing. We could hear it from all the way over here. But this is where Louisville's at its best. Yes, a really good offensive team. However, it's the press getting back into the 1-2-2 and using their length to be really disruptive on the defensive side of the ball.
And of course, here's a look at the starting 5 for the Zags. 4 seniors in this veteran lineup, top to bottom, led by Melody Kempton, first team all WCC selection. Sierra Walker off the mark with the 3-point shot into the hands of Van Lith. Hall for 3. Got it!
Enksler creating, using that 6'1" size as a forward. She can stretch the floor and knock down the 3, but also drive into the paint, draw multiple red jerseys, and that leaves Hall wide open for an easy shot for the Cards.
A 7-0 start just as they started versus Albany. Red hot are the Cardinals, 3 of 6 to begin this game as the full court pressure applied by the Cardinals defense.
Here's why that press was effective. 17 seconds on the shot clock by the time the Zags can get into their offense and run something.
O'Connor fighting for the loose ball on the floor right in front of us, and a tie-up with the possession staying with the Zags with 4 on the shot clock.
The Zags worked yesterday in practice and then shoot around this morning on ball fakes, ball fakes, ball fakes, and no one has really committed to that concept quite yet. This defense is suffocating. You have to commit to ball faking and getting Louisville to jump.
Haley Trong knocked into a defender. Jeff Walls wanted a shot clock violation. Instead, it's going to be a blocking call against Enksler.
Enksler, 21 in white, absorbs the contact, and she hits a wall. Trong hits a wall, rather, but Enksler comes out there, gets the spot on time. To me, that's not an offensive foul. She was there and established the real estate, and Trong was the one that committed the contact.
Another tie-up this time. The possession arrow points to the Cardinals. What do you make of this 7-0 start, both sides of the basketball?
Well, I don't know if you could hear it on your television, but it's really loud in here. This place is packed right now. They're expecting about 10,000 fans to come in here, so it's a great atmosphere for women's basketball. But any time that Louisville goes on a run here, that's just full momentum because of the crowd noise that happens to come with it.
Already 3 offensive rebounds for the Cardinals. Haley Trong, who had that 20-point career-high performance Friday versus Nebraska. Verjoge mishandled it. 5 on the shot clock. Trong for 3. As Walker comes in for the rebound and a fresh 20 on the shot clock.
The Zags run a lot of sets and they run a lot of high-low actions with their bigs. They have to make sure they get a paint touch and force Louisville's defense to shift.
Tron to Verjoge, off the mark. Struggles to begin this game for the Zags offense. Smith on the other end, knocks down the three.
But it's all started with the intensity on the defensive side of the ball. And once you start getting turnovers on the defensive side of the ball, that just fuels Louisville's offense.
Zags breaking the press. That was one of the talking points from the Louisville players yesterday. We feed our offense from our defense with that press. And thus far, it's turned into a 10-0 lead. How about the steal by Cochran with the right-hand finish.
Cochran is a 6'3" post player. She just got into a passing lane, took it like a guard down, and finished on the other end. We're talking point guard-esque.
Already 4 points for the sophomore on 2 of 3 shooting. Yvonne Ejim, the WCC 6th Woman of the Year, off the bench for the Zags, off the knee, and it will stay with the Zags.
I mean, how many post players in America can come out to the perimeter, get into a passing lane, steal it with the correct hand, and then boom, finish on the other end? I mean, this is an unbelievable skill set that Olivia Cochran possesses, and that's going to cause a lot of issues for the Zags because right now, the length and size of Louisville has prevented Gonzaga from being able to get the ball into the interior and run their offense with that high-low big action they like.
Louisville's defense has already forced Gonzaga to 3 turnovers on the first 5 possessions, nearly a shot clock violation. Gonzaga needing some kind of answer to stop this 12-0 run to begin the game by the Cardinals. Smith drives, finish with the right hand.
Smith is an elite shooter. She knocks it down at a 39% clip from 3. So as a shooter, you have to have that pump fake and ability to get to the basket when defenders come out on you with a high hand.
Kaylin Trong into the corner. Abby O'Connor for 3. O'Connor follows up her own shot, off the mark. Gonzaga missing their first 6 shots and a whistle underneath the basket.
The Zags playing really timid right now, and that's because Louisville's length has forced them to take really quick shots in the offense. The Gonzaga team that showed up and won 2 days ago was a team that played really long into the shot clock, made really good passes, and ran through their offensive sets. The Zags just need to take a deep breath.
Tempted finding O'Connor in the corner. Out of bounds to Louisville. This was a talking point for the Cardinals coming into the NCAA tournament. Let's not forget, they lost in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament to Miami, and that has been part of the chip on their shoulder coming into this tournament, trying to prove the doubters wrong.
It's like the ghost of Christmas past that we've been talking about throughout this tournament, but it goes to show you the reason why the Cardinals have this chip on their shoulder, because they truly think they have the potential to get to a Final Four. And why not? When you have a player like an Emily Angsler who can get into the passing lane, get offensive rebounds, and knock down threes, we're talking big-time scorers for the Cards.
Back in Louisville, here's a look at John Smith, the father of Kiana Smith, and certainly the tree in terms of basketball immortality falls far. Let's start with the fact that there's so many family ties. John was the men's basketball coach currently at Cal Poly, played at UNLV. Her brother, Kiana's brother, Jamal, played at Cal State Fullerton, who's now the director of ops at Montana State. And her grandfather, Fred Lucky Smith, played for the Milwaukee Bucks. We had a chance to talk to Brianna Smith this morning at Shoot Around, one of the most disciplined, one of the most organized, and one of the most confident individuals I think we've ever had the pleasure to talk to.
It was great talking to Kiana, and she told us, you know, growing up, she got to stay up and watch film with her dad and got to go to practices, and she's just grown up around the game. I asked her the biggest piece of advice she ever got from her father. He said, keep the main thing the main thing.
Kaylee Trong getting the first 2 points needed for the Zags that ended a 14-0 run to start this game for the Cardinals. Van Lith with the fake. 15-foot jumper, no, into the hands of Sierra Walker with the rebound. Taylor Trog, a first-team All-WCC selection. The twin sisters on the floor together. Off the feed, one sister to another, and a quick 5-point spurt on the timeout for the Zags.
That's exactly what Gonzaga needs. Wait to get a little bit later in the shot clock, get multiple ball reversals, and knock down good shots.
One of just 11 D1 duos to each have 300-plus points, over 100 assists, and 30 steals. Enksler looking to answer. Way off the mark with that 3-point shot.
Gonzaga finally settled into this game a little more, and ball reversals lead to really good in-rhythm shots. A little sister-sister action, Trong to Trong. But that's what Kaylin Trong brings to the floor for this Gonzaga team. She comes in and she's that extra spark where she's averaging more than 10 points a game. That's the type of scoring the Zags need at this moment in time.
Kaylin Trong to the corner, Walker for 3. Knocks it down, and how about this run put together by the Zags, an 8-0 run to answer.
Paint touches lead to open 3-point shots because once you hit the paint, the defense has to collapse, and that opens up room for your shooters.
Van Lith, one-on-one with Walker. Mikasa Robinson for Louisville tried to sky in for the rebounds. Melody Kempton held in check so far in this first quarter. Kaylee Trong, no, but a foul that's going to go against Smith.
Gonzaga's finally been able to settle into some offense because they've been able to get stops defensively. Therefore, Louisville hasn't been able to set up in the press, and you have to let the shooter land when they take off the ground. And as Trong takes off, Smith comes over, closes out too strong on that.
Trong, an 83% free throw shooter. Again, we talked about toughness at the top of the broadcast. She missed at least 5 minutes in that first half, Friday versus Nebraska, after that collision with Jazz Shelley. Came back in the second half and put up 15 of her 20 points.
I mean, she knocked her head on the ground like a basketball, bounced back up. They said that her ponytail actually helped save some of the ricocheting that occurred. But to your point, you have to be so tough this time of year. And those tough teams are the ones that can make deep tournament runs.
Louisville began this game on a 14-0 run. Gonzaga has answered with a 10-0 run of their own. Louisville will have possession with 19 on the shot clock.
And I'm not surprised at all that the Zags have been able to go on a 10-0 run because there are so many veterans on this team, a lot of upperclassmen that have been through the ropes and understand you have to be tough when adversity hits and a team goes on a run.
Smith with control at the point. Robinson off the bench, one of the top defenders in the ACC this year. Heath's shot partially blocked. Enksler's got to fire one up. And good defense in the half-court set by the Zags. Walker looking ahead to Ejim. What a move from Walker to Ejim, and look at the move by Zaga. Right now, the Zags down just by 2.
If your big's gonna run the floor, you gotta reward them. Excellent transition offense by the Zags coming from defensive stops.
And now you're hearing the contingent of fans that made it from Spokane show their appreciation on a 12-0 run by Gonzaga. Robinson floater in the lane. Enksler skies in for the offensive rebound. Cochran is there.
Zags have to box out, and it's a 1-2 punch that Louisville brings between Enksler and Cochran, but you got to put a butt into a gut and push him out of the paint.
Think about the Zags offense, Megan, for just a moment. They missed their first 7 shots, and since then they've knocked down their last 4, have cut it to a 4-point deficit.
Got to have short-term memory loss and think every single shot, the next one's going to go in.
Kaylin Trong with Van Lith in her face, rattled in and out on that 3-ball. 3-on-2, Van Lith to Smith. Kempton the other way, off the mark. Enksler with the rebound. Defense has been stingent for the Zags as of late off the steal. Kalen Trong left open for three. Ejim with the offensive rebounds.
I'd like to see the Zags slow down, wait for the last shot on this possession, try to get it to a big or let Trong come in, create off the ball screen.
And a reach-in foul against Robinson. That'll be her first.
Louisville is a team that can get hot in a hurry, a microwave offense, so to speak. And if you let them get out and run in transition, they're going to make you pay if you don't get back in transition defense. And Smith just looking real pretty with that smooth finish on the other end.
Zags are going to hold for the final possession of this first quarter. Ejim forces her way in, no. But the foul committed will put the sophomore to the free throw line.
Ejim stands at 6'1" for Louisville rather, can come in and stretches the floor as a 4-player, but can get to the basket. And that's just a really smart move and good awareness of time and score, getting there and getting fouled.
She had 14 points, did Ejim, in the first round against Nebraska. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship first round continues tonight on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For more information on tournament game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Ejim knocks down both free throws, and that brings us to the end of the first quarter. But what a first quarter we saw, Megan. Louisville coming out with a 14-0 run. Gonzaga answered with a 12-0 run of their own. Winner of this game moves on to the Sweet 16 to Wichita. Back after this. Head coach at Northwestern, what is that experience like from a child's perspective, being able to be on the court with your father?
I mean, it's the best way to grow up. I was watching their daughter Quincy yesterday. She was getting her hair braided, her ankles taped by the trainer. When you're 4 years old, getting your ankles taped is the coolest thing in the world. What a cool way for these young kids to be able to grow up and be around the game of basketball, which we all love so much this time of year.
Deanna Smith, that three-point shot rimming in and out. Out of bounds to Gonzaga. What'd you make of the way the Zags offense was able to fight their way back after trailing 14-0 to start this game?
Well, the Zags were able to settle into an offense because they got defensive stops, and Louisville couldn't set up in the press. So they came down more composed and were finally able to get some paint touches. The Zags run a lot of sets, and they love high-low action with the bigs. Once they finally were able to settle down into a rhythm, they started to go on that run.
O'Connor blocked by Robinson. There's a reason why she was named to the All-ACC defensive team in back-to-back seasons. What a defensive presence there by the senior.
Robinson's 5'7", O'Connor 6 feet tall. Look at her beat O'Connor to the spot, and it's simply using angles and timing on the block to get that defensive stop.
Walker, that one partially blocked by Liz Dixon off the bench for the Cardinals. And the turnover forced. Robinson, a fan favorite, grew up in Ashland, Kentucky. Smith to the corner. Hall against her former teammate at Vanderbilt in Walker. There's Dixon with an offensive rebound, but the takeaway by Trong.
She was like in a hut right there. That's how many red jerseys were around her to prevent the second chance opportunity.
Zags down by 4, despite the fact they're only shooting 25% from the field in this first half. This suffocating defense forcing the Zags to throw one up with 2 on the shot clock and a shot clock violation. What a defensive performance in the half-court set by the Cardinals.
The Cardinals started switching ball screens, and it did not allow the Gonzaga guards to come off the screens and create anything effectively. That was a really disciplined defensive possession by Louisville.
We saw on occasion a few times Friday against Albany a couple of shot clock violations, and this is what the defense did against the Albany Great Danes in the first round. 26 turnover force. How about the steals? 18 of them, nearly averaging a steal per every 2 minutes. As Hall flying in, too strong off the glass.
Well, that's what Louisville can do, and it's the reason why I think they can make such a deep run in this tournament is because they're committed to the defensive side of the ball. Not a lot of people like playing defense. I know you didn't like playing defense when you played.
I had a nickname, Brick. I'm lucky you got any game time at all. Robinson off the feed from Hall. Robinson, one of those players who's going to use her super senior year to come back to the Cardinals next year. has stretched this lead out to 6 on the Zags. O'Connor forced to give it up. Dixon, almost like a cornerback with the interception. Robinson, they're going to call the junior, Kaylee Trong, with the foul.
Defense is what fuels Louisville's offense, and it's the way they've guarded ball screens. The trap that time on the last possession also came on the ball screen action. You talk about being a D-back in the NFL. I mean, some of these Louisville players, especially the bigs, are going to have like the Cleveland Browns calling them that they need, hey, a new cornerback on our team, because the secondary has been so good for the bigs in this Louisville team.
This is a defense that's holding opponents to 55 points per game, on pace to be the fewest allowed in program history. Kick ball that resets the shot clock to 20.
When a team like Louisville, who plays such staunch defense, is on the floor, you have to commit to preventing second chance opportunities, because that just allows the Cardinals to get set right back up into that press, and then you're out of position.
Van Lith back into the ball game. Great shot by the sophomore who leads this team in scoring.
Gonzaga wanted to force mid-range jumpers for Louisville, and so far Van Lith has been able to step up and knock one down. But Louisville has to try to commit to getting to the basket as well to keep more things open for them offensively.
First 2 points for the sophomore sharpshooter after missing her first 4 shots on the floor. Lead is up to 8 for the Cardinals. Trong splits the defense, and an answer for Gonzaga. Dixon with the drive. Too strong off the glass, into the hands of Verjoge. Kempton down low, finding Trong. High-low game, that's one of the specialties of the Zags offense.
Oh, and that cut was so hard. When you cut with some deliberation, you can usually have a wide open look at the basket, but you got to set up your defender the right way. Trong is excellent in that category.
Reholst, back ironed on the 3-ball attempt into the hands of O'Connor. Williams finding Kempton down low. Again, the high-low game working for the Zags, and all of a sudden it's a 2-point game.
I did not think that ball was going to find her teammate from our angle, but yet she threaded the needle perfectly, and Kempton kept it high so nobody in a white jersey could block it.
Verholst going to try again from beyond the arc. And the same result from the freshman out of Kansas. Under 10 on the shot clock. Trong with suffocating defense by Robinson. Williams throws it up and drops it, and Gonzaga is now tied it up at 22 in Louisville.
Williams stayed very composed on that little up-under move, almost down in the paint.
Van Lith, step back 3. Verholst fighting for the offensive rebound, saves it, but right into the hands of O'Connor. And a reach and foul. That'll put the senior on the free throw line when we come back. A back and forth battle with a Sweet 16 berth on the line. Zags and Louisville tied up at 22.
Teams that would have come on the road in an atmosphere like this, a hostile environment, and folded after getting down 14-0. But the Zags team has a lot of veterans on the squad, juniors, seniors, fifth-year seniors, and that is the reason why they have been mentally tough and have stayed in this game. We're tied. Gonzaga's up 1. Check that. That's why I don't do math and look at the score. That's your job, man.
First lead of the game for the Zags after starting 0 of 7 from the floor. Louisville's offense has gone into witness protection, almost 3 minutes without a made bucket. And they trail by 1 until now. Van Lith with an answer out of the break, and that's who you look to if you're Louisville.
Yeah, Van Lith called the FBI to get out of witness protection on that play. I think she heard you, took some offense to that.
Off that 20-point performance back on Friday versus Nebraska.
And this is something that Louisville worked on and shooter on. They went to a 1-3-1 zone. They play primarily man-to-man defense 95% of the time. However, a little 1-3-1 action to give Gonzaga a different look. And how about this play from Van Lith? Talking about a motor and a player that embraces physicality. You have to have so much core strength and focus to get hit in midair and finish off balance.
Van Lith, who reminds me of Isaiah Thomas. I have said throughout this weekend that this Louisville team remind me of the bad boys of the Pistons back in the late 80s. Walker, no on the 3-ball attempt, but there's Ejim to clean it up with the putback.
Ejim just had great position on that play.
Ejim, the 6th Woman of the Year in the WCC, the #1 option for Lisa Fortier off the bench. Hall with the dribble drive, counted in the foul!
Louisville was able to run their offense almost at the free throw line that possession. And once you get in closer to the basket, you give yourself a better chance of getting a favorable high percentage shot. And Hall finished again with that right hand on the left side. Yeah, right hand on the left side with contact. Kept the ball nice and high, so instead of getting blocked, she was able to draw a foul.
The #1 free throw shooter for the Cardinals completing the 3-point play, and it's a 2-point lead back in favor of the Cardinals. Ejim, a native of Calgary, as Trong controls the point with 7 on the shot clock. Kempton, a quiet first half, back to Trong, launching a 3, back iron, but there's Kempton with the offensive rebounds. Trong again follows it up, and we are tied up at 27.
I really like Trong's decision making. A lot of players would have pulled it back out and ran the offense, but as a point guard, she was like, man, ain't nobody gonna shoot this better than I can right now.
Trong, 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Van Lith, somehow that shot fell. Are you kidding me? But Louisville on the defensive end, Axler with the block, and Van Lith wants the fans here inside the KFC Yum Center to get on their feet.
How tough is Haley Van Lith? She loses the ball, then acrobatically is able to finish that over a 6'1" Ejim. I mean, come on. You know how tough and focused you have to be to do that? Then she comes down getting the crowd riled up. You talked about the bad boys. This is definitely old school Pistons we're seeing here with this Louisville team.
But off the inbounds play, Kempton with the basket and the foul to tie it up for Gonzaga to put her to the free throw line. Kempton, who was named the WCC Most Outstanding Player in the tournament after their win over BYU. Cochran one-on-one with Ejim. That's a great matchup and an answer on the other end for the sophomore.
Cochran got excellent position down in the post. First off, she is one of the strongest women on the court, and she's able to use her body and her shoulders, just turning right over to the middle of the lane, puts Ejim in an unfavorable position and finishes with the contact, but it all starts because she did her work before she got the ball.
We asked Olivia Cochran, how would you describe her game? And she said, I'm just naturally strong like Giannis. Like, I agree with you. After what I've seen over these last 2 games, the type of force that she has in the low post is undeniable.
I asked her, would you rather have the game-winning block or the game-winning shot? She said, game-winning block, duh. Like, that was the dumbest question ever asked.
Without hesitation, offensive foul by Ejim.
Speaking of without hesitation, Haley Van Lith comes over as a secondary defender, establishes herself outside of the paint. You can still move once you've established yourself as that defender in a lateral or in a diagonal motion, which is why she was able to draw that charge.
The sophomore picking up her 2nd foul. On the bench for the Zags. Axler Blocked by Kempton. It will stay with the Cardinals.
Kempton did a really strong job guarding Angsler in that possession, not letting her have an easy look at the basket, using her length.
Here's the bracket in the Wichita region. Again, winner of this game moves on to the Sweet 16 to await the winner of Tennessee and Belmont, who picked up the upset win yesterday over Kelly Graves, the former Zags coach in Oregon. Kempton with the foul, and that'll be her second against the senior.
To your point, you talk about that Belmont win over Oregon. We've had a lot of upsets throughout this tournament already, and it's just great to see the state of women's basketball right now, that you do have this parity that exists where the top seeds are knocking off bottom seeds. Princeton took down Kentucky over in Indiana yesterday, and that was a massive game as well. So the women's game is just at the top level talent-wise right now.
By the way, you don't want to talk about upsets in the state of Kentucky. Talking to fans tonight,
it's true.
The Cardinals are the last hope for the state of Kentucky.
I wore a light blue jacket, and a lot of people came up to me and said, "You're very brave wearing blue in this building."
Angsler knocks down both. She's got 4 points, but 9 rebounds. And a turnover force because of the press. The 9th turnover against the Zags.
Louisville was able to turn Gonzaga over at a high rate earlier in the game, but they hadn't really been able to get that type of flustering stop. Something that the Cards need to go back to in order to try to get a bigger lead.
Van Lith, floater in the lane, no, but great ball movement by the sophomore, just couldn't capitalize with the bucket. Kaylin Trong, talk about the sea parting with the easy layup to get the Zags within one, giving the Cardinals one last chance on this possession to close out the first half. Deanna Smith, the lucky bounce somehow falls, and that is how the first half comes to a close here in Louisville.
Well, when you're playing at home, you're afforded a couple of lucky bounces, right? But Smith is an assassin from the three, still has that form beautifully, lets the goose hang loose. And sometimes it's just good to play at the KFC Yum Center if you're in a white jersey for Louisville.
10 points for Kiana Smith, number 1 Louisville with a 36-32 lead on Gonzaga. We'll send it to the Degree in the studio with Kelsey Riggs, Monica McNutt, and Andrea Carter.
Some offense and get really good looks at the basket.
Winner of this game moves on to the Sweet 16 in Wichita. It's been a day of upsets. Iowa losing to Creighton, Baylor about to fall to South Dakota, and a foul underneath the basket.
It truly is wild, all of these upsets that have happened over the course of the last couple of days. Again, the parity so excellent right now in the women's game, and it's been so much fun to watch this tournament, and we're just getting started.
And there was some talk going into the NCAA tournament whether or not Louisville was deserving of a number 1 seed. And here they are with a chip on their shoulder, looking to fight their way back to a 5th straight Sweet 16 appearance. Walker drives the baseline. Verjoge with the right-hand finish.
Verjoge staying composed, and as the shot clock was winding down, Gonzaga never sped up. They were able to get paint touches, ball reversals, and ultimately move the ball with some speed to get an open look.
Zags trying to go for their first Sweet 16 appearance in 7 years. Smith, who finished that first half with that 3 to put her in double figures. The turnover gives the ball back to the Zags. Keep in mind, this is a Zags team that played twice against Stanford, lost the season series against BYU. Elisa Fortier telling us this week at Shoot Around that it was that second loss where this program really reached rock bottom and has fought their way back to a chance to get to the Sweet 16.
It goes with that mental toughness aspect. You have to be able to battle through adversity of a season and maintain the highs and lows that come with it.
Trong fouled up her own miss, gets the basket to count. And we are tied up at 36. Trong leading all scorers with 12 points on 5 of 8 shooting. 4th tie of this game. Cochran, turnaround jumper. Rebound by O'Connor. lost the handle, turned the ball over. That'll be the 10th turnover against the Zags.
I mean, off-balance shots, and nobody boxes out Tronk. You gotta box out the shooter. Following her shot, Tronk has just been getting this offense going so well right now for the Zags. The reason why they have this game tied at the moment.
And this was the reason why Tronk was so tough. Had the injury in the first quarter. Off the feed as Inksler unable to convert, putting up 15 over 20 points, a career high in the win Friday against Nebraska to the junior guard from Gonzaga. O'Connor, stolen away by Inksler. Bounce pass to Van Lith, off glass and in.
Van Lith cuts so hard to the basket, and moving without the basketball is massive for guards, because if you cut hard enough and get into your teammate's eyesight, you can get high percentage shots.
Van Lith, 8 points on 4 of 10 shooting off that 20-point performance Friday against Albany. Verjoge lost the handle of it, and not the type of start we've seen from the Zags before.
And Inksler just using her length to read that pass. How about the handles too you're seeing? She's a forward, but she can handle that thing. Like, she's a point guard as well. Multiple people on this Louisville roster have the ability to handle the ball, which is why it's dynamic for multiple people to break the press.
Van Lith spots up and hits the three.
She kept that free throw up, or that follow through rather, up there for a minute. Wanted everybody to know that thing went swish.
The lead up to 5 for Louisville. A swarming defense, Inksler.
Van Lith wide open. Gonzaga has been in this game long enough at this point to know they have to make sure they get out to number 10 in white, because she will make you pay. One of the quickest releases. I mean, she's lethal from beyond the arc. That was highlighted on the scouting report.
And that was a point of her game during the early part of the season where she struggled from beyond the arc. She has brought that game back in full force. Inksler, meanwhile, picking up her second foul. Walker looks to answer for 3. And contact underneath the basket that goes against Cochran.
Verjoge and Cochran have been battling down low all game. Just trying to create second chance opportunities, but you have to make sure you're maintaining the legal guardian position when you're boxing out. When you've got the official right underneath you, anything done in front of the official, you better make sure you are being as legal as possible.
Keep in mind, these are 2 of the top rebounding teams in the country. Louisville was 2nd in the ACC. Gonzaga was number 1 in the WCC.
The Zags rank 7th in the nation in rebounding margin, +10. And that's the reason why they've been able to win so many ball games, controlling the boards and creating extra offensive possessions as a result.
The +7 advantage in rebounding for the Zags. Verjoge into the hands of Van Lith. Van Lith, filling it from beyond the arc.
That's way too much space for a player like Van Lith. She does not need a lot of daylight in order to get a shot off. And as a result, this crowd is absolutely rocking right now. Got to get a hand up in the face of Haley Van Lith. She just hit a shot like 10 seconds ago. Now she's hitting back-to-back threes, getting the crowd going. Haley Van Lith on fire in Louisville. And that type of passion is excellent for the women's game because it just makes it more exciting.
She has 14 of Louisville's last 24 points. If you describe her game, one word comes to mind: saucy. Wouldn't you agree?
Would you describe her game as saucy? What kind of sauce?
I will describe her game any way possible, including Kaylee Trong's three-point shot was saucy.
I was going to say that was saucy. That was like marinara sauce that you saw from Trong right there. And that was a big shot for Gonzaga because it silenced the crowd a little bit, and now they're able to get back and try to play half-court defense.
Van Lith, no, on the missed shot, it's Cochran. Basket would not go down, but a foul committed.
The strength that Cochran possesses, in addition to the level of physicality that she plays at, makes her so difficult to box out, because when you got a player that's jumping up for the basket, I mean, you have to hold on for dear life trying to box them out.
Abby O'Connor called for her first foul. In that game against Albany, Cochran had double figures with 10 points on 4-4 shooting, but it was the offensive rebounding where she really put a stamp on Louisville's victory.
Offensive rebounds just completely deflate defenses, because then you got to play defense for another 20 seconds, and nobody will actually admit to liking and enjoying playing defense. Maybe some will, but most people will not be pulled them.
Here's that press that forces the turnover. Again, Olivia Cochran was the one that said it best this morning at shoot-around. We feed our offense from our defense with that press.
Anytime Louisville's been able to go on a run in this game, it started because of getting stops in that 1-2-2 press they play.
The defense for the Cardinals that's been able to force 13 Gonzaga turnovers. Inksler no, but drew contact and will head to the free throw line.
Inksler and Van Lith have been a 1-2 punch for the Cardinals this year, but you gotta love the fire, the passion. This is win or go home time. Sweet 16 on the line in Kentucky.
Versus UConn, we have also seen Iowa fall at the hands of Creighton. What a day it has been for the NCAA tournament in women's basketball.
And credit to you for coming up with on cue with McEwen. Well done. You wanted me to give you credit on air, so there's your credit.
I wanted to have it last long. Almost like this suffocating press that Louisville has had all night long.
Great transition.
I was up all night trying to come up with that idea.
The grind don't stop for anybody, including Louisville's defense.
You get the sense that this is a moment where the Zags have to make a charge against the Cardinals. Down to 5, Kempton, who's been held in check. Strong shot, partially blocked into the hands of Inksler. Trying to find Van Lith on the baseball pass, but a turnover. Kempton trying to work it down low, instead stolen away by Inksler. Ball, floater in the lane, gets it to drop.
Hall's ability to elevate, despite her size, is what makes her such an effective player in the mid-range. She can get that shot off over multiple people, no matter how tall they are.
Chelsea Hall, the transfer from Vanderbilt with 8 points, stretching out this lead to 10 for the Cardinals. Williams, who's seen some quality minutes. And Van Lith skies in for the rebound. Up-tempo's the sophomore, driving through, gets contact with the foul committed.
I asked Haley Van Lith what her favorite thing about playing for Jeff Walz was, and she said she loves that her coach gives teams the ability to create in the open court before running a set play. And here's a perfect example of being able to create in the open floor. When you have a player as crafty as Van Lith, who can juke out multiple defenders on the way to the basket, I would give all the trust in the world to a player like that too.
Jeff Walz this morning at shoot-around for Louisville described his sophomore sensation at the point guard position as one who embraces contact and can always be able to go off ball. That is the scouting report on Van Lith, the toughness that she showcases game in and game out.
A lot of players don't want to give away the ball because they're worried they're not going to get it back. However, Van Lith is a player, when she gives it up rather, she's confident that she's going to be able to get it back in a situation where she can score.
The 7-0 run for the Cardinals over the last 2+ minutes. Strong down low to Williams. Out to Walker for 3. And the struggles continue for Sierra Walker beyond the arc with a foul committed.
I know we've been saying Haley Van Lit's name a ton over the course of this third quarter, but I mean, you gotta be kidding me regarding the rebounding that she's been able to do in traffic. We talk about embracing contact, playing with the level of physicality, but Van Lit has been a beast on the boards right now.
I made this note on Friday versus Albany. This team reminds me of the Bad Boys. And
Break it down for us.
Van Lith is your Isaiah Thomas. Robinson is your Rodman. Cochran's your Mahomes. Lambier's your Anxler.
Coach Walls liked the reference.
He didn't understand it at first, and then the more I explained it, the more he liked it.
He got on board after you explained it. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to give a little bit of an explanation, and then you can get the masses to agree with you.
And Anxler, of course, Bill Lambier, without question.
Well, Anxler is just so tough. Somebody that nobody wants to play against, but she's the player you want on your team. And she plays so hard on the defensive side of the ball. All of these Louisville players do.
10 rebounds. She also had 2 steals as well here tonight after 7-steal performance against the Great Danes on Friday. Reason why she's been one of the finalists for the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year. Kempton playing with 3 fouls. Eludes her defender off glass and in. That's a big bucket for the senior.
Louisville high hedge on that ball screen. Trong was able to come off and create. Kempton slid up and then had an open lane to the basket. Really nice ball movement by the Zags.
Smith left open for 3. Van Lit skies in for the offensive rebound. 13 offensive rebounds for the Cardinals in this game. Bounce pass to Dixon. Wave off the basket as the senior traveled with the basketball.
This next possession is going to be crucial for the Zags to get a bucket because they need a little bit of momentum to cap off this third quarter headed into the final round.
Melody Kempton, one of the 4 seniors in this starting lineup for a Zags team trying to make it to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2015. Last year they lost to 12-seeded Belmont. This year off that win against Nebraska in the round of 32. Williams off the high ball screen. Give and go back to Egypt with 5 on the shot clock. No. Kempton fights her way in and nearly got that to drop, but she will head to the free throw line.
Gonzaga's done a better job the last few possessions, staying down, fighting to create second chance opportunities. Kempton doing just that, and as a result, she gets an opportunity to go to the strike.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of the NCAA Women's Championship extends through the championship game on Sunday, April 3rd. You can also catch all the action available on the ESPN app. One of these 2 teams will be heading to Wichita for the Sweet 16 as Kempton knocks down both free throws. Alana Smith, 2 in white, off the bench for Jeff Walls. Smith from the free throw line. There's Cochran cleaning it up with the offensive rebound. Fakes her defender out. What a move with the right hand.
A beautiful pump fake by Cochran. She completely got Verjogai up in the air, then had the quickness advantage to get to the basket with an open look.
Cochran with 11 points on 5 of 7 shooting to go along with 5 rebounds. Walker stolen away by Anxler. And the senior goes coast to coast but can't convert on the layup.
I know she's frustrated about missing that layup, but that was an excellent defensive possession by Angsler, who just simply put up her arms. Coming down, she misses the layup. However, she's 6'1", and Angsler's length, however, until you see her in person, it's truly unbelievable, and that length has made her such a good defender because she simply puts her arms up in the air, and it's been completely disruptive for teams throughout this whole entire season.
She leads this team in rebounds, blocks, and steals, #1 in the ACC in that category. Transfer from Syracuse, who has a great relationship with Jeff Walz, calling him, quote, evil genius and non-neurotic.
When she said non-neurotic, I about passed out from laughing.
And a foul against Smith on the press by Louisville. I mean, how many times do you hear a player call their coach non-neurotic?
I think you can tell how much Coach Walz and his players respect one another, just their interactions during practices and shoot-arounds. You know, he truly cares for his players on the floor and off, but he's also a tough coach, and his players have talked about, you know, you have to have thick skin. However, he's put them in a position to be a 1 seed, to be one of the top teams in the country, and potentially compete for a deep run to the Final Four.
It's Kaylin Trong to the free throw line. 90% free throw shooter. A miss there, a rare one by the junior guard out of Houston, Texas. Substitutions for both teams with Williams and O'Connor. For the Zags, Smith coming off the bench for Louisville, who can hold for this final possession. Angsler, strong to the basket, counted in the foul!
Angsler just completely sliced and diced the defense. Little behind the back move, are you kidding me? Absorbing contact. I mean, she just made this look so smooth. Again, as a forward, she's able to drive it to the basket, play on the outside, which just opens up the floor for Louisville and then gets a great angle to the basket. But those handles make Angsler such an elite forward.
Angsler completing the three-point play and stretch out this lead to 56-44 on top of Gonzaga. Closing seconds and a block by Smith that ends the quarter. Talk about a statement made by Kiana Smith and the Cardinals. A defense unmatched so far here in Louisville. 10 minutes remain for one of these two.
It makes the game exciting. And look, we got Sweet 16 on the line here. You got to come out and play with a little bit of swagger if you're going to get to the next level.
Eye of the Tiger, you have to think, being a native of Washington, there's a little extra added motivation for Van Lith against the Zags here tonight. Smith in the lane. Fight for the loose rebound, a tie-up underneath the basket, and position to the Zags.
And she's just so tough. I mean, one of her favorite players growing up, Kobe Bryant, she was able to attend Mamba Academy and study from him, and they had a wonderful relationship. And fantastic that, you know, Kobe was able to give back to the women's game, especially right before he passed away, and was really passionate in trying to get a lot of involvement and interest in the women's game, and thought there's a lot of talent at this level.
Among the great names for Louisville in recent years, Asia Durr, Dana Evans. Can Van Lith get her game to that type of level?
I think she can. She has a lot of time left. She's only a sophomore. Van Lith has experience playing with Team USA. And right now she has put the Cardinals in a very good position in this fourth quarter to go to Wichita.
Smith called for her second foul. That'll put Sierra Walker to the free throw line. Walker, transfer from Vanderbilt, the #1 three-point shooter on this Zags team, has struggled from beyond the arc in the 2 games here in Louisville. Over 10,000 strong packing the KFC Yum Center. What an environment we've had over the last 2 days to see some great basketball here at the NCAA tournament.
I mean, how cool is that? More than 10,000 people to watch women's basketball. This is the highest level, and what a treat these fans have been able to see today from the Cardinals and the Zags as well.
And they've all come to see you.
I was going to say, it was your suit you walked in looking immaculate.
As a foul committed by Cochran underneath, Kempton will go to the free throw line.
I mean, that's like a fastball, literally. She threw that ball so fast, like on the baseball diamond, it bounced off of Cochran and into Kempton's hands.
And that's a critical play for Olivia Cochran. That'll be her third foul. Meanwhile, Kempton, who has been the star this year for the Zags, recently got engaged, and when we were at shoot-around on Friday, I said, don't even talk to me about the game against Nebraska. Tell me how your fiancé proposed to you.
It was a great story she told us. Caught her off guard a little bit when you asked, but they listened to Mumford & Sons and drove around, and he popped the question.
When you're married with 2 kids, you live for those stories now. Give me the details.
He wants the deets.
Van Lith, 18 points on the night for the sophomore standout.
There are so many good shooters in college basketball, but Van Lith's form is what makes her stand out because she's one left-handed, but 2 gets the ball right out in front, and her follow-through is so strong and pure. She truly lets that goose hang loose that everybody talks to you about when you're a 4th grader in basketball camp. Reads screens well, doesn't need a ton of time to get her shot off, but gets the ball right out in front and always catches in rhythm. You have to practice hours and hours to get into a habit of catching the ball in rhythm, so all you have to do is just shoot the ball, and Van Lith is elite in that facet.
42 of her 61 career games at Louisville have been in double figures.
Is that good?
Compared to your Northwestern career?
Hey, it's not bad.
I had to get that in at least one point.
Hey, I would be getting water for Haley Van Lith if we were on the same team.
18 points on the night for Van Lith after a 20-point performance in the first round. Enksler keeps her composure off to Cochran. Foul away from the ball. That's going to go against Enksler. That's going to be the senior's third.
Number 21 on the bottom of your screen. Looks like just a little bit of contact happening in basketball plays.
So Cochran and Enksler each with 3 fouls apiece. Stolen away, Van Lith. Enksler, spin right playoff, flies it in. A double-double on the night for Emily Enksler, and a timeout on the floor.
How Enksler didn't travel on that spin move is beyond me, because I got dizzy watching it from 10 yards away. But yet she was still able to maintain composure. I mean, spin cycle, boom. She wasn't even looking at the basket when she threw the ball up there, but yet was able to find the backboard perfectly. That angle is absolutely unreal. You've got to be kidding me, Emily Enksler.
And these two have one of the most interesting relationships in all of college basketball. Jeff Walz and Emily Enksler, who just picked up her 27th career double-double just a day after picking up her 1,000th career point. Evil genius, non-neurotic.
I mean, can you imagine being described like that? But they have a wonderful relationship, and Enksler's been able to come into Louisville, transferred from Syracuse, and she has completely blossomed in Jeff Walz's system. They play a staunch man-to-man defense, and Enksler's length has allowed herself to really become a dominant defensive player in the ACC.
You've had a chance now to really see this Louisville program. 3rd #1 seed in the last 4 years. Tonight we've seen upsets with Iowa and Baylor going down. What are the prospects for the Cardinals as they try to return to the Final Four?
Well, I think the fact that Baylor went down is really big for the Cardinals because they're in a similar region. So therefore, they're going to have a path carved out for them. And any team that can play defense are teams that win championships. I know it's a cliche, offense wins you games, defense wins you championships, but there's a reason why this NCAA tournament history looks the way it does, and it's that commitment to the defensive side of the ball that Jeff Walz has instilled since the time he took over this program.
3 Final Fours, 6 Elite Eights. Trying to make it to the Sweet 16 for the 5th straight year. Jeff Walz, it can't go unmentioned, the type of turnaround job that he has done for the Cardinals program in his 15 years. Went through the likes of Nebraska, came here, was under Brenda Freese at Maryland where they won a national championship. Walz is one of those coaches that embraces the game, wants to enjoy the game, but this is a team that has the potential, certainly, to make a deep run to the Final Four.
Well, and again, it's that press, and you see right there, that is Coach Paul Sandiford going into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, had a wonderful career at Western Kentucky, also coached at the University of Nebraska, and that is Jeff Walz's mentor. And he said that he got his defensive philosophy from Coach Sandiford. And Sandiford has been here throughout the NCAA tournament and just one of Coach Walz's great friends, mentors, and someone he truly values the basketball opinion of in the mind to create what he has created at Louisville.
And there's one issue, and you and I would both agree, that the Cardinals have to focus on. Their Achilles heel has been the fourth quarter. Happened against Miami in the ACC quarterfinals versus NC State earlier in the season, last year against Stanford in the Elite Eight. If they can do something in terms of correcting those issues, this is a Cardinals team that is dangerous.
And it's also a team that's very aware that they have fourth quarter issues. And you talk to any of the players, they say, yes, we know, but it comes down to focusing at the end of games. Despite having a double-digit lead, you can never relax, especially this time of year. Like Coach Walz says, you are in the top 10% of college basketball teams. Everybody is good right now. You can't relax no matter how big of a lead you had at any point in the game.
Melody Compton coming out right there. Kempton with the nice move to the basket. She's in double figures, 13 points. And the Zags needed that coming out of that timeout. Foul that goes against the junior Trong. That's going to be her second.
Van Lith just continues to cut so hard, and as an offensive player, if you cut hard, you're going to catch your defender off guard and therefore have an advantage with the angle you get going towards your teammate or towards the basket.
Van Lith, corner three, nothing but net. How about that? And she looks at the crowd.
I got nothing more to say. She's a great shooter. What more do you want?
She had 20 on Friday, one up to tonight with 21 points, including 3 threes. Do the Zags offense have a late run in this game? Ejim lost the handle, a double team with a partial block by Cochran.
That was like in football when you got to credit 2 people with the sack.
Hall, Van Lith for 3. You imagine if that one went down? Ball out of bounds to the Zags.
Completely felt like the roof was going to blow off the top if that came down, but off the inbounds too. Just a simple pass to Cochran, and Cochran uses her body to open up some space, almost like a screen for Van Lith, who curls off and catches the ball in rhythm. That's why her release is so quick, because anytime Van Lith gets the ball in a shooting position, she's ready to shoot.
8 of 16 from the floor for Van Lith in 31 minutes. Walker left open for 3, and a big answer for the Zags.
We got a lot of lefty shooters on the floor tonight, which is not something you see every day, but Walker is another player that has the ability to shoot at a high clip from 3 because she's got a quick release.
Enxler faked out Ejim. Ten-point lead for the Cardinals. As we approach the final 5 minutes, winner goes to Wichita in the Sweet 16. Ejim with Enxler in her face. And they're going to get a foul against the Cardinals. And if that's against Enxler, that'll be her 4th. That's going to give to Robinson her 3rd. What an atmosphere, what a game. 10-point difference between Louisville and Gonzaga. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? 4:53 left to go in this round of 32 matchup. The top seed, Louisville Cardinals, with a 63-53 lead on number 9 seeded Gonzaga. And let's take a look at the season in review for the Zags. A certainly memorable year that was capped off with their 10th WCC tournament title, knocking off BYU. So build me a case right now why the Zags team, down by 10, can make a late run in this game.
Because they have juniors and seniors and fifth-year seniors on their roster that have the ability to maintain any sort of tough hit that comes, sustain rather, and go back and fight back. They did it in the first half. They got down 14-0, came back and tied the ball game. Took the lead, actually. They have the ability to do that. There's still a lot of time left. That 10-point gap is not a massive margin, believe it or not, against a team like Gonzaga that is really disciplined and has a lot of veterans.
We just saw that Cardinals defense stifling and suffocating, forcing a 17th turnover by the Zags as possession arrow favors the Cardinals. We're looking for their 5th straight Sweet 16 appearance.
I'd like to see Louisville really slow it down here, run their offense, try to take time off the clock, because you got a 10-point lead right now with 5 minutes left about. You've got to try to take as much time off the clock as possible.
Robinson playing with those 3 fouls, along with Enksler and Cochran. Kiana Smith, long-range 3. Strong pushing it ahead. Kempton in stride, too strong with the left hand.
That was a beautiful pass to Kempton, just not able to finish. But those transition buckets are what the Zags need to get in order to get back in this game.
Miscommunication with Hall and Smith. Robinson, floater in the paint, knocks it down as the senior comes off the bench making an impact. Strong to her sister in the corner. Back iron that 3. Fight for the rebound. Kempton, no on the second chance.
The Zags have gotten 3 really good looks at the basket. They just haven't been able to put the ball in the basket.
That's back-to-back possessions for the senior, unable to capitalize. Van Lith, 21 points in this game to lead all scores. Shot clock down to 4 for Robinson. And a foul that appears to go against Ejim.
That's a tough foul, too, at this time of the game. Can't hand check anybody. It's been a point of emphasis this year amongst the officials.
3rd foul against Ejim. As the Zags take a 30-second timeout. For the Louisville Cardinals, as mentioned, a number 1 seed for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. Jeff Walz and his coaching staff guiding this team to a 10th straight 25-win season. But they've been playing with a chip on their shoulder ever since that loss to Miami in the ACC quarterfinals, losing to the Canes at the buzzer. Let's look at the Wichita bracket as it stands. Winner of this game moves on to the Sweet 16 to face off with either Tennessee or Belmont. But again, look at the bottom portion of the bracket. Villanova, off their win over BYU, will face Michigan. And how about Baylor, the number 2 seed in this region, losing to South Dakota, making their first ever Sweet 16 appearance.
I mean, the bracket is wide open, and keep in mind, Michigan and Louisville played earlier this year. Louisville won that game in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. A potential rematch could be very fun down the stretch.
Abby O'Connor called for her 2nd personal foul. Puts Enksler to the free throw line. At the line for the Cardinals, number 21, Emily Enksler will shoot 2. Look at the numbers over the last 5 seasons. Only UConn and Baylor have been better than the Cardinals in terms of most wins. And the Zags also getting on that list as well. That's why this was a premier matchup going in, a 1 versus 9 for a Sweet 16 berth.
I mean, look, both of these coaches have done a great job at their respective programs, building a brand and an identity that's been sustainably successful over the course of their time.
Lead is at 13. Kempton skies one in. No, there's Robinson flying in for the rebound.
Yeah, Coach Wall's telling Van Lith to pull it back out. It's a good decision by Louisville to slow it down because the less possessions the Zags have for Louisville, the better.
Smith met by a double team. Van Lith for 3. Louisville just 4 of 10 from the floor in this fourth quarter, but more importantly have a 13-point lead. Jalen Trong traveled with the basketball, the 18th turnover by the Zags offense tonight.
Louisville's really been able to capitalize off of these Gonzaga turnovers as well. They've been able to score 21 points off those turnovers, completely deflating when your opponent is able to capitalize off of any mistake that you make.
Van Lith to Smith with the right hand, and that could be the dagger that the Cardinals needed. Bodies flying everywhere as Smith gains composure at the point. Whistle on the floor, and let's check out tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Orgain Protein, and who else but Haley Van Lith, the sophomore. 21 points, 8 of 17 shooting, not to mention 6 rebounds in this game.
I mean, the scoring's been impressive, don't get me wrong, but the rebounds, the 6 rebounds, and just the passion and getting the crowd involved. Van Lith has been a force to be reckoned with in this round of 32 game.
And the stare has been there from Friday all the way to tonight. It hasn't changed the demeanor on the sophomore's face.
It's a scary stare, too.
Van Lith with 7 on the shot clock. Hall in the paint. Still to come, number 1 Stanford, 8th seeded Kansas. As Ejim gets the bucket with under a minute to go and a timeout taken by Lisa 48 and the Zags.
I was really impressed with this team, this Gonzaga team. The way the seniors have come out and played. It's the last time we're going to see some of these players in a red uniform. But what a run the Zags have been able to make in this tournament. A massive win over Nebraska 2 days ago. Then to come out, have a lead in the second quarter, come down from down 14-0. Part of the way that these seniors have been able to show out here in Louisville.
And let's give some love, as mentioned, to the senior class for the Zags. 3 West Coast Conference regular season titles, back-to-back tournament titles, 4 NCAA appearances with a record of 107-18. For a program that last year that lost, Jill Townsend, the Barta sisters, all that talent lost, to be back to this point is a credit to that senior class.
I mean, to win more than 100 games over the course of at least 4 years just speaks volumes to how much that senior class has accomplished for Gonzaga.
KFC Yum Center, a place where the Cardinals this year have not lost a home game, a perfect 15-0 for the first time since the Cardinals moved into this building. And less than a minute away from a trip to Wichita and a Sweet 16 appearance for the 5th straight year. As Jeff Walls takes a timeout.
I mean, 10 Sweet 16s, about to be 11 for the Cardinals. To have a program where it is just assumed and expected that you are going to not only reach an NCAA tournament, which is so difficult to do this day and age, but to get to the Sweet 16 and have that be the standard just goes to show you what Jeff Walz has been able to build in Louisville.
Jeff Walz in his 15 years, this is what he's done after coming to the Cardinals. Look at what it has done. 34 tournament appearances, a couple of Final Four appearances, 3 in fact with 2 national runner-up situations, Elite Eights, 6 of them, and 10 Sweet 16, signed a contract extension through 2028. And in fact, how about this? Talk about the blue-collar work ethic. We saw him picking up trash before the game around the arena, a perfectionist at every point and non-neurotic to his players.
We have some excellent season ticket holders who have been sitting behind us throughout this weekend, and they've said just how much they love Coach Walz. Now he's willing to come in, talk to everybody. He truly is interested in growing the women's game, and credit to what he's been able to build here. More than 10,000 fans have packed this house in a women's basketball NCAA tournament game, and I think that speaks volumes to how much this game has grown.
As the seconds tick away, the fans inside the KFC Yum Center feel it. Another Sweet 16 berth on the line. And the impact that the Cardinals has had this year. Think about what we've seen over the last 48 hours. Princeton upsetting Kentucky, the Kentucky men losing to St. Peter's, Murray State losing to St. Peter's last night. Jeff Walz and Louisville, they've got the spotlight the rest of the way in March.
And that's saying something, because there is a lot of talented basketball in the state of Kentucky. But if you are a state of Kentucky basketball fan in general, make sure you follow these ladies as they make it to the Sweet 16. And I tell you what, they're playing with so much momentum right now, especially on the defensive side of the ball with that intensity. They have what it takes to truly get to another Final Four.
Elite Eight appearance last year, losing to the eventual national champion in Stanford. Give credit to the Zags. They fell behind 14-0 to start this game, fought their way back. We're down by 4 at the half. But too much to overcome with this press and defense by Louisville, led by the likes of that lady right there and Emily Engstler.
Engstler's defensive intensity, it's just so suffocating to opponents because her length at 6'1", her motor, she's just so hard when she gets into passing lanes, and just her disruption overall is what makes her such a staunch defender.
Walker knocks down the free throws, but too much to overcome. And the #1 seed, the Louisville Cardinals. For the 5th straight year, Jeff Walz and his Cardinals are dancing in the Sweet 16. It's on to Wichita.